Hello and welcome to CACUK's Freedom Friday, and this is a pre-recording of our Freedom Friday session that we would do on the first Friday of the month, which is the spiritual session where we talk about Nam-myoho-renge-kyo and how to transcend reality and create the future. I've been unable to do, and I know I've been away for a month as well, and I was really looking forward to getting back into it this month, but unfortunately I couldn't do the session at 12 p.m. as we normally do. So I've done a pre-recording, and I wanted to talk today about what is truth. And I'm going to read a Gosho, which is a kind of a spiritual letter, and I'll explain that. Just a brief introduction, because I know if you haven't been following these before, CACUK stands for Class Action COVID UK, and it was we started this back in October 2020, and it's essentially building the legal case for the people of the UK who have been harmed by COVID measures, not COVID. And these sessions, the Freedom Friday sessions, were put together as a kind of a support group, really. So we're now doing them 3 times a month, although it has been quite difficult, and I've been so busy with one thing and another, my own work amongst family commitments and everything else that we juggle in life. So but I really value these sessions because we've had some really good talks, and the stuff that comes out, the wisdom that comes out of everyone who attends these sessions is great. So just to keep that going, and I just like to show, I mean, I've been practicing Buddhism for over 20 years, and one of the things I know, there's a huge kind of awakening. I think most of us will agree there's a real spiritual awakening taking place on the planet, and there are so many people now. Everybody's looking for, trying to share the truth, and what's the truth, and there is so many different versions of the truth, and how do we know what is really the truth? What is this truth that everybody's seeking? So, is it the truth of what's really happening in Boris Johnson's government, or is it the truth of what's really happening in Ukraine? And, or is there a deeper truth that can pervade everything and explain everything? And that's where I'm coming from when we do these sessions. So let me just, let me read to you this Gosho, and I hope that I'll explain as we go through, but I hope it will make some sense as well. So I'm going to start here. And by the way, this is, so what I practice is Nichiren Daishonin's Buddhism. It comes from 13th century Japan, but it takes its roots from the original Buddha, who is sometimes known as Shakyamuni, sometimes known as Gautama Buddha. It's the same person, and that's 3,000 years in the past. So here we go. So the most important thing in practicing Buddhism is to follow and uphold the Buddha's golden teachings, not the opinions of others. Our master, Shakyamuni Buddha, wished to reveal the Lotus Sutra from the moment of his enlightenment. However, because the people were not yet mature enough to understand, and this is going back to India 3,000 years ago, he had to employ provisional teachings for some 40 years before he could expound the true teaching of the Lotus Sutra. So there are so many lots and lots of different sutras before the Lotus Sutra came along. So obviously he was preaching, you hear about things like the Flower Garland Sutra and the Nirvana Sutra, which was actually preached after the Lotus Sutra, but lots and lots of sutras which were preached previously to the Lotus Sutra. So Nichiren goes on to say, in the Muryogi Sutra, which served as an introduction to the Lotus Sutra, the Buddha clearly distinguished the provisional teachings from the true teaching. He declared, I have preached the law, and this is the law of life, the mystic law of life he's talking about, law with a capital L. I have preached the law in many ways, devising many means. But in these more than 40 years, I have not yet revealed the truth. So what is this truth that he's just about to reveal in the Lotus Sutra? The 80,000 bodhisattvas, including Bodhisattva Daishogon, fully understood why Shakyamuni had preached the provisional teachings, demonstrated that they were nothing more than means, as in not the end in itself, but a means to the end, and finally discarded them entirely. They expressed their understanding by declaring that no one can attain supreme enlightenment by embracing, you hear the word, so in these writings, there's enlightenment, and then Nichiren talks about supreme enlightenment, and in the Lotus Sutra they talk about supreme enlightenment. So what's this supreme enlightenment? So they express their understanding by declaring that no one can attain supreme enlightenment by embracing any of the provisional sutras which expound bodhisattva austerity spanning millions of eons. Finally, the Buddha came to reveal the Lotus Sutra and stated, "The world-honoured one has long expounded his doctrines and now must reveal the truth." So there's a citation for that, which is Lotus Sutra, chapter 2, and you can read that. This is an English version of the Lotus Sutra. If you want, it's translated by Burton Watson, if you want to grab hold of that. It's amazing reading. It will blow your mind. So the well-honoured one has long expanded his doctrines and now must reveal the truth. He also warned, in the Buddha's lands of the universe, there is but one supreme vehicle, not two or three, and it excludes the provisional teachings of the Buddha. And honestly discarding the provisional teachings, I will now expound the supreme way. Thus, ever since that time, the supreme vehicle of the mystic law has been the only teaching profound enough to enable all people to attain Buddhahood. Buddhahood is a state of life. The teachings there we all have. Let me go on. Even though no sutra other than the Lotus Sutra can provide even the slightest benefit, the Buddhist scholars of the latter day is an age in time that's also explained in these teachings. I won't go into it here. So the Buddhist scholars of the latter day claim that all sutras must lead to enlightenment because they were expounded by the Buddha. Therefore, they arbitrarily profess faith in any sutra and follow whatever sect they choose, whether Shingon, Nembutsu, Zen, Sanron, Hosho, Kusha, Jojitsu, or Ritsu. So I'll stop there. So I kind of, each day I sort of pick out little things and I read and I kind of try to inspire myself to continue this quest for happiness and truth. And so Nichiren there was talking, Nichiren is a priest in Japan in the 13th century, 1200 and 1253, he first expounded Nam-myoho-renge-kyo. And he said that Nam-myoho-renge-kyo was in essence the essence of the Lotus Sutra, which is the Buddha's supreme teaching. And why is it? Why was the Lotus Sutra so supreme among all the other sutras? Nichiren explains it in a simple way, and he simply says that the Lotus Sutra was the only sutra that said that women and all people, including people of the two vehicles and evil people, can all attain enlightenment. It was the only sutra, it was the first sutra that said that. It was the only sutra that actually included all beings that are able to attain enlightenment. So that's quite profound. So it basically means if you're looking at practicing the other sutras or kind of following the other sutras, then you're not really accepting that all people can attain enlightenment. So the question is, do we really believe that all people can attain enlightenment? Because sometimes it can be hard to grasp that phenomenon. Now, I have a kind of analogy really that I think about, which is that you've got one person, I've got my truth, you've got your truth. And if our truths are different, which truth is right? Because if only one truth can be right, then one must be wrong. So if I come along and you come along and we're talking, then if we can agree on something, then what we agree on must be the truth. Because if I have my truth and you have your truth, if we can talk together and agree and reach a mutually agreed truth, then there must have been truth in each of us to be able to get to that truth that encompasses both our truths. Does that make sense? And in part of the Lotus Sutra, it talks about Shakyamuni Buddha and Tahoe Buddha, and they represent the mystic and the physical, and they come together and they nod in agreement in this humongous treasure tower, which is filled with jewels and lapis lazuli and extends to the Brahma heavens. And it's kind of a metaphor for, you know, kind of this attainment of enlightenment and the wisdom that comes from within. So I feel my interpretation, my understanding of it is that the truth is really there in everybody, but what's the point of having the truth in yourself if you can't use it to encompass and embrace other people's truths? So it's the communication, the ongoing conversation and dialogue and discussion that we have, and the openness that we can have to embrace other people's ideas and views and opinions, and, you know, not kind of walk away or say, oh, well, you're right and I'm wrong, or whatever, and have a fight about it. But if you can keep an open mind, and if the other person can keep an open mind, then you're bound to get to a point of agreement. And this is the spiritual, I feel that this is the spiritual awakening or the spiritual war that we're fighting. Not so much we're fighting spiritually against some enemy or some dark forces. What if the dark forces were in our life? And the spiritual war we're really fighting is the spiritual war between our higher self and our lower self. That it's our higher self that wants to win, and it's our higher self that embraces all of life and the earth. So I'm going to stop there. Thank you for listening. I'm just going to say I'm going to put some links below, because I'm going to put this on YouTube. So there's going to be some links below to the CACUK website if you want to follow that. I am going to be releasing a course in the next couple of months, and I'm really proud to say that I've been working with somebody who's an amazing healer, spiritual person, and you know, this lady is absolutely amazing, and we're working together to put this course out in the next couple of months. So please have a look at that when it comes out. Have an amazing day, have an amazing week and month, and I will see you, hopefully all things going well, live for the session next month, which will be the first Friday in May. So I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Thank you.